Good day to each and everyone. I'm Mariona Aycarara, and today we are going to talk about building a loan amortization schedule, particularly a fixed rate amortization schedule. So let me define first what is a loan amortization schedule. It refers to a table that shows a sequence of calculations over the life of a loan. For each period, the schedule shows figures such as the payment, the principal and interest components of the payment, the cumulative principal and interest, and the remaining principal. So, ganito siya. Ganyan. So, may mga amount dito. Hindi naman nabago sa atin kung ano ang amortization schedule or amortization table, right? Kasi, first year pa lang tayo, ginagawa na natin to. The difference now is before, we manually create amortization table. Ngayon, tuturuan ko kayo kung paano gumawa through or gamit ang Excel. We have here data or arguments. Ito yung magiging reference natin mamaya. Loan, loan schedule or loan amortization schedule is just a straightforward application of these functions. We have PMT or payment function, IPMT or interest payment function, and then lastly, principal or PPMT or principal payment function. Sa payment na tayo. To compute, we are going to use the PMT function. Yan. Nakikita nyo ba yun dito sa baba? Ito, yung rate, number of period, yan yung arguments. Tapos, ang may reference natin is yung loan data na nandito. Rate would be 6%. Number of period is 10, or number of years. PV or the principal amount. And then, balloon payment or yung FV. Thus, for the type, we're going to use end of the period. Ayan. Tapos, drag lang natin ito hanggang 10. Yun. Hindi siya gumana. Kasi, kapag basta mo lang siya drinag, mag-a-adjust yung value dito. Diba? Imbis na ito, yung rate is 6%, bumaba siya. So, to solve that, kailangan natin lagyan ng dollar sign before the column and before the basta yung location ng nung cell. Column tong B, tapos row naman yung 2. Ayan, dollar sign. And then drag lang ulit natin. Ayan. Yan na siya. For the principal naman, yung PPMT function yung gagamitin natin. Rate. This time, meron ng period. So, yan, year 1. Then, number of period ulit. PV, balloon payment, and then end of the period. Ngayon, kailangan ulit nating i-fix yung rate, itong arguments, except sa period kasi tama lang din naman na mag-a-adjust siya. Ito lang yung i-fix natin yung rate, number of period. Nakita ba? Ayun, PV, and then lastly yung FV natin. Similar ba siya sa module? Ayun. Try natin kung pagana. Drug. Ayun. Similar. And then, for the interest payment naman, ganun ulit. IPMT yung function. Rate is 6%. Period. Number of period. Principal, principal value. Future value. And then, end of the period. Tapos, i-fix lang ulit natin yung arguments except yung sa period. Hmm. Number of period, EV, and then, yan. Tapos, drag lang ulit. Similar ba? Interest, 30,000. Ayun, pareho na. Ngayon naman, cumulative principal. Pwede sana natin gamitin yung cumulative interest payment or cumulative principal. Kaso, meron tayong balloon payment. So, instead, ganito na lang yung function na gagamitin natin. Copy mo muna ito. Since, ayan yung beginning balance. Then, yung previous amount plus ito. And then, ito-drag mo lang siya. Yan na. Yan na yung cumulative principal balance or yung nag-amortize na principal amount. Nag-amortize na component ng principal. And then, for the interest, ganun din. Tapos, previous plus ito. Pareho ba? Ayan, pareho siya. And then for the remaining principal naman, this would be the sum of principal amount and the cumulative principal. So bakit sum imbes na minus? Kasi dapat zero yung dulo niya, di ba? Dapat i-deduct yung nag-amortize na. The thing is, naka-negative na siya dito. So kapag nag-negative ka or nag-minus ka dito, instead na mag-deduct itong cumulative principal, mag-a-add siya. So, sum talaga. Sum yung gagamitin natin. And then, since fix yung value ng 500,000 na principal natin, lagyan lang ulit natin ng dollar sign dito. Yan. Tapos, drag. Zero. Diba? Yung tagal-tagal natin i-compute. Ganyan lang pala. Per year ito. What if per month naman siya? Pwede times 12 mo lang to. times 12 months. Yan. Na-adjust na siya. Hindi siya zero dito kasi for 10 months lang. Inabot ng schedule natin. Hanggang 10 months lang siya kaya hindi pa siya zero dito. Pero kapag 120 na yan, nasa 120th month na, magze-zero na yung remaining principal. Yun lang. That's all for today. Thank you for listening.
So good morning, everyone. I'm Alex Evans Onatek. I will discussing today the building a dynamic amortization schedule. So after po nang mapakita ng mga ibang reporter yung paggawa ng amortization schedule, yes, it works well if you change the interest rate or the principal, but it doesn't handle other types of changes very well. If you want to use a different time basis, for example, I have the example for this. So, naglagay lang po ako ng time basis, which is the annual, semi-annual, quarterly, and monthly. If you want to use a different number of periods, you need to either extend the schedule for a longer term or shorter the schedule and delete the extraneous periods for a shorter term. So here's the summary of the changes I made to create this schedule dynamic behavior. To change the time basis, select a value, which is the annual, semi-annual, quarterly, and monthly. The number of the selected list item is started in cell E2, which is 4. Second bullet is the time basis determines the time factor, the amount by which you have to adjust the rate and the term. For example, if the time basis is monthly, so the time factor is 12, which is 12 months. This means that you divide the annual interest rate, which is 6%, by 12, and you multiply the BG by 12. The time factor cell D3 uses the following formula. Third bullet. Given the adjusted rate and the total period, the schedule formulas can reference these cells directly and always return the correct value for any selected time basis. So, ang sinasabi lang po dito sa third bullet is nagvary yung ilan yung time period, which is 12, depende sa time basis, monthly. Kung annually is times 1, pag semi-annual, times 2, and quarterly times 4 if monthly is 12. The next bullet is the schedule adjusts its size automatically depending a total period's value. If total period is 15, this the schedule contains row in 15. Dapat tong period na to is 15 din daw po siya, not including the headers. If the total period daw is 180, the schedule contains 180 rows. Yung 180 total period is nakuha lang po siya sa term 15 times 12. Kaya po nakuha yung total period na 180. The last bullet is dynamically adjusting the size of the schedule is a function of the total period's value, D5, the first A10, pero yung sa gawa ko po is A11, is always 1. Ito po siya. Each subsequent period checks the previous value to see if it's less than the total periods, which is ito po, A12. Here's the formula in cell A11. Ayan po. Equal if close parenthesis the A11, and less than the D5, which is the total period of 180, plus 1, so total 2. Mag-automatic na po siya. So sinasabi lang naman po dito, if the period value of the cell above the current cell is less than the total period, the current cell is still within the schedule, so calculate the current period, the value from the cell above plus 1. Yun po yung pinakita ko kanina, and display the result. Otherwise, you've gone past the end of the schedule, so write a blank. Last is the various payment columns checks the period value. If it's not blank, calculate and display the result. Otherwise, display a blank. So sinasabi lang po dito sa last bullet, these changes result in a totally dynamic schedule that adjusts automatically as you change the time basis of the term. Yun po yung main point ng report ko po. If you change the term or the term basis monthly, if monthly siya, 12, mag-automatic na po siya na 12 lang. Yan, 12 lang po yung period na ibibigay sa'yo. That's all. Thank you.
Calculating the term of the loan. So what is a loan term? The loan term is the total duration required to repay a loan in full based on a given interest rate, loan amount, and monthly payment. It is typically measured in months or years. How to calculate the loan term? We are going to use the NPER function. NPER function helps determine the number of months required to pay off a loan automatically. So we have here an illustration or an example. Suppose you want to borrow 10,000 at 6% interest rate. Most you can spend is 750 monthly. So using the NPER function, first we are going to type the NPER and then lalabas na siya dyan. Select natin yung interest rate. Next is yung payment. Since yung interest natin is annually, so dinivide natin siya into 12. And then select natin silang lahat. Okay, so meron tayong 13.8 months to calculate the payment. But it rightly insists that the last payment be made at either 13th period or the 14th period. So, meron tayo ditong dalawang scenario na ipapakita na if ever inend natin yung loan after 13 months and inend natin yung loan after 14 months. So, if you elect to end the loan after the 13th period, syempre you still have a bit principal left over. Dito natin makikita sa table Y. As well as the principal paid each period gamit ang PPMT function. PPMT function is used to calculate the principal payment for a specific period of a loan or investment based on constant periodic payments and a fixed interest rate. So, ano ba yung laman ng PPMT? So, we have the rate, the PER, the NPER, the present value, and yung FB at saka yung type, optional na lang yan. Okay, so, ito lahat yung principal paid or yung principal amount na ibinayad mo each period. Dito naman sa cumulative, syempre, i-add mo lang naman yan each period. So, makikita mo no, na 9,378.07 lang yung lahat ng ibinayad mo. So, ibig sabihin, meron pang remaining. So, syempre, in order to get the remaining balance, ilalas mo yung amount or yung inutang mo sa ibinayad mo. Okay, next. Dito naman tayo sa 14 months. After 14 months. Syempre, if you elect to end the loan after the 14th period, Instead, syempre, you'll end up overpaying the principal. Magkakaroon tayo ng overpayment. No? Okay, syempre, parehas lang yan. Gagamit pa rin tayo ng PPMT function para makuha natin lahat ng ibinayad natin each period. Same lang din naman sa 13th month. So, kukunin lang natin lahat ng amount. Okay? Ayan. So, ganun din sa cumulative, no? Syempre, i-add mo lang din naman yan para makita natin lahat ng amount, kung magkano lahat ang naibayad mo after 14 months. Syempre, nagkaroon tayo dito ng overpayment, no? Okay, so obviously, nagkaroon tayo ng overpayment principal after 14 months na dapat 10,000 lang, no? May sobrang 124. So, therefore, the 14th payment will be 625 dapat. Kasi, ililas natin sa 750 yung overpayment na 124. So again, we use the NPER function in order to get the term of the loan, and we use the PPMT in order to get the principal paid each period.
Good day, everyone. I am Adrian D. Manongdo, and today I will be discussing how to calculate the interest rate required for a loan. So, this is a crucial financial concept, especially if you are considering borrowing money, let's say for a car, a house, or even a business. So, you might ask, why is this useful? Well, understanding how to calculate the required interest rate is useful because of different reasons. First reason is it helps you to decide whether to accept a loan or wait for better rates. You can use it as well to negotiate with the lenders. It also allows you to compare different loan options and determine which one is more affordable. So let us proceed with the synthetic data. Uh, Imagine you are borrowing a money from a bank to buy a car, and the bank tells you that the term in years is 5, and the monthly payment is 200 pesos, and the principal amount is 10,000 pesos. I'll just input the data on the remaining variables here, and I will discuss each one of these later on. So I'll just put 0 in here as the default, um, 0 here as well, because it's the end of payment period terms. And the guess, let's just put 5%. Now, you might wonder, what is the interest rate the bank is charging me? Wait, should be the questions. I'll just put some color in here so that we would easily distinguish it. So this one. Good. Now, some banks doesn't always tell you the interest rate directly. So if that's the case, then you can calculate the interest rate. You can use the Excel's rate function for it. Let's take a look at the rate function. So firstly, you would have to put an equal sign and type the rate function name and input the open parenthesis. As you can see in here, there are a lot of arguments that is needed. So the NPER, PMT, in PV are the required arguments that uh, should have data on so that the rate function would work. And the FB, type, and guess are the optional arguments. They are enclosed with brackets. That means that it is optional. That means that even if you don't input some data on these, the rate function will still work. So let's proceed for the first argument, NPER. So NPER stands for number of periods. So this is the total number of payments you will make. So if it is a 5-year loan with monthly payments, then we would have to convert this 5-year term into months. So how do we do that? Let's choose the cell B2 and multiply it by 12. Why 12? Because a 1 year consists of 12 months, obviously, and we would have to put a comma for us to proceed on the next argument, which is the PMT. So PMT stands for payment per period. So this is how much you pay each month. So if you pay 200 per month, then obviously we would have to enter 200. But in this case, we'll just select the cell B3 and we would have to input comma again to proceed for the next argument. So anyway, why is our 200 negative? It is because the money is going out of your pocket. Basically, it is in the point of view of the borrower. So PV. PV stands for present value. So this is the loan amount or how much you have borrowed. For example, in here, you have borrowed 10,000, then we would select the 10,000 in the cell B4. Cell B4. There we go. And now we are approaching these optional arguments, but for the sake of this discussion, you would just uh, enter every argument. All right, so balloon payment. Payment is like a future value, and this is an optional one. So this is how much you still owe at the end of the loan. For most loans, this is set to 0, just like in our example, because you fully pay it off at the end of the term period. But sometimes you might still owe some money at the end of the loan term. For example, a balloon loan where you pay small amounts for a few years, right? But at the end, you still owe a big lump sum. So if you still owe a 20,000 after the 5-year period, then you would have to enter 20,000. But in our case, um, we fully paid it off. So let's just select the cell B5 and gamma to proceed for the next argument. So type. So type again, this is optional and this tells Excel when you make payments. So if you input 0, the Excel will assume that payments are made at the end of each month, which is the most common scenarios here. And if you put 1, payments are made at the beginning of each month. So in our case, we will just put 0 because we will be using the end of period payments. Comma again, and the last one is the guess argument, which is an optional again. So the guess is like uh, giving Excel a hint to help it find the right interest rate. So why does Excel need a guess? Some calculations like interest rates require Excel to keep trying different values until it finds the correct one. So it's somehow like iterates over and over again until it finds the exact specific interest rate. So by default, Excel assumes an input 10% and it starts looking around that number. So if Excel doesn't have a good starting point, it might struggle to find the answer. So I repeat, Excel by default will input 10%, around 10%, and look for the specific interest rate around that number. And as you can see in here, we have put 5% as our best guess in our interest rate. And um, let's just input the guess as B7, cell B7, B7. And now, since we have already satisfied all of the arguments, we'll just need to enclose it with the closing parenthesis and just hit enter, and we get 6.62%. Now we would just need to convert it in annual interest rate or APR. Let's just use equal sign, select cell B9 and multiply it by 12. So our APR is 7.42%. Just change the color for a bit. Now, most of the time, you don't need to enter a guessed amount. But if Excel gives you an error or wrong result, then you can try entering a number close to what you expect. Just like what I did. I input 5%. So what if you don't know you don't know what to input in the guess as well? Then you can do trial and error. Let's say our best guess is 3%. The rate function will still can still handle that, even though you put the amount way off the radar of the interest rate. Let's say 100%. The Excel rate function can still handle it. However, if you input a very way off or unrealistic interest rate, then you will face with an error, say 1000%. Then we will get this numerical error in our formula. So that's it, and thank you.